Hey everybody, this is Blue, and I am going to do another book review. This week it is going to be Castles and Ruins. This is Rolemaster's source book on how to build a castle in a fantasy setting in the most realistic way possible. And this was inspired by Bob the Builder. Bob the World Builder, not Bob the Builder. Anyway. Bob the World Builder the other day made a video, that one right there, and where he was talking about strongholds and bastions, castles, fortifications for groups. And Bob and I, we have a different outlook, a different way we want our games to be played. Bob in this video says that he is a rules light person. And so he doesn't want to be dragged down, bogged down by all these rules that say you can only do this, you can only do that type thing. And I'm different. I love my rules. I mean, this book is 190 pages. It is an in-depth read. And so Bob, I don't think would like this book. On that aspect, because the book that he was going through wasn't that big, and he was saying how that was kind of loading him down. I'm a firm believer that rules make the foundation, and the stronger the rules, the stronger the foundation, and the more you can build, the better you can build. And so that's why I like my rules, because I can say, okay, this is something I can do, and this is what they have tested to work out great for the game. Awesome, let's use it. And Bob, it's just not that way. He is not wrong. If that's how he wants to play the game, and there are many people that want to play the game that way, great, have fun. But like I say, I'm a rules heavy type person because I love structure. I have control issues. Okay, but anyway, Bob was also having problems with their gaming system of their fortresses, bastions, and all that fun stuff, because it was based off of level. If I'm remembering right, you got your stronghold at level 5. Okay, and then certain levels you can get things. And it was either level 9 or level 13. You got a pub. I mean, good God. I mean, I think that is so ludicrous. And so the system that Bob was going through, he was rather disappointed because it was level based. And so that inspired me to do this video, because Castles and Ruins is not level based. If you got the money, honey, and the time, you can build whatever you want. So let's get into the review. All right, Castles and Ruins was published in 1996. This is part of their standard edition, which is not the edition that I use. I use second edition, and standard became after that. And there's some aspects of standard I don't like, and so I can use this with second edition. I just got to watch a few things here and there, but that is really no big deal. Artwork. Oh gosh, the artwork in this book is amazing. The inside, it's the good old black and white, ink dress sketches and all that. They're great. Iron Crown has always done good on their artwork, and so I love this stuff. And here is a bigger picture of the cover. It's got some color to it. It has depth. And that is a pretty good castle to have. And so, it can inspire you. Yeah, I want something big like that. And so I like the artwork. And this one, is unique to Castles and Ruins. I have not seen this artwork on any other module. So it's a good thing. And so let's go to Whoops. Yep, there we go. Let's go to the actual book. This is a PDF that I bought off of RPG Drive-Thru. You can get this book is out of print, so you're going to have to buy the PDF if you want to get quickly. And I forget what the price was. I bought this months ago. And then you can buy this, but it is very rare to find on eBay. They do have it on Amazon, and the cheapest I saw it was $60. And so you might need to do what I did, and that is, I bought it off of Drive-Thru RPG or RPG Drive-Thru, whichever it's called. I then sent the PDF to a PDF printing service, and I made one copy so that I have something on hand, because I like to use paper books because I'm a pen and paper type of role player. There's the credits. I think Iron Crown is always been kind of underrated, and right there is a good example of the artwork. It's very good here. Table of contents, you can see they have a lot here, and we got a lot to get into. The welcome, it's just a general. They got a nice introduction. Again, they have a lot of reading here. Now, I have to warn you, you have to love to read to do this source book, because it has a lot of in-depth detail, which I think is awesome. If you're not into reading that much, you might have some difficulties with this book. And if you do not like working with numbers, you always hated math and all that, you are not going to like this book. There is so much that you have to use numbers for. It's kind of intimidating for some people. In here they're talking a lot about there's the small details, about designing your castle, life in the castle, engineering it. It is pretty amazing. I think if you read all of this, you actually can be inspired to do more. They're talking about food. This is still just part of their introduction. Talking about how the seasons, taxation, the law, politics. They make this into a very realistic process, and it is my opinion, for what it's worth, that you could take this source book and use it as a campaign. Because you're building your fortress, your castle, is not based upon your level. You can have an 18-year-old who got a lot of money, is given a little piece of land, and he needs to build his manor, his castle, whatever you want to call it. And so he has to campaign to get people, to get supplies, to get things going. It is a great thing. And like I said, this is Rolemaster, so you need to prepare. There are a lot of charts. A lot of charts. And so you can see how they have, different races in here, which will affect how the game is played in small ways. And so we come to the first thing that I hate about the standard edition, and that is the training packages. Now, a training package is something that you buy for your PC when you are doing character development. Let's say that you are wanting to be an advisor. Okay, something very boring. And so you buy this based off of your profession. You know, they give the prices down below here. And then you develop those attributes for a long period of time. That's one of the things I hate about it, because if you look at the apothecary, it only takes 27 months to develop this. The architect, which I do not agree with their time frame, they're saying it takes 19 months to develop. And that, I think, is ludicrous, because you can have an archaeologist 52 months. The artificer, which of course I think they stole from D&D, they're saying it takes, the time to acquire is 110 months right there. And, you know, 110 months, that is 9 years. So if your PC was 18, he's now 27. He's getting older. And so, and he didn't get to do much with them. And it just doesn't seem to flesh out with me very much. Now, the nice thing about these, I think, is that they give you a good idea of what you need as NPCs for your castle, for this area, for a campaign in a castle. And so what you can do then is go through every one of these training packages, and you can make an NPC. Like they're saying here, the groom, that's somebody who takes care of horses. Okay, the inventor, you can have one or two of those. A jester, of course, you know, you always need jesters in a court, in a castle. Okay, you have your magic crafter, political person, prophets, romantics, and the romantic on that. This is another time I have a massive problem with their time to acquire, and that is 74 months. Ugh. I mean, good gosh, that's almost 6 years. And I think I missed one, the one I wanted to talk about, which is, oh well, we're not going to go back that far. Okay, yeah, I do need to go back just a wee bit. There we are. This is another reason why I dislike the training packages that they have in here. The executioner. This is somebody that, you know, takes a weapon and kills people in court-ordered executions. It takes 28 months to become an executioner. Over 2 years to learn how to lob off heads. Okay, and then when you go by what they get, the very bottom one, they got weapon, two-handed skill category. You get 1 skill rank. 1 skill rank in 2 years? No, that just, I think that is just poorly devised. Okay, now we're into the castle construction and design. This is where they get into nice details. And the first thing they want to talk about is your size of the land that you're trying to put your castle on. How much land do you have under your control? This will determine your workforce, and your workforce will determine how big and how fast you can build your castle. So that is important. Then they talk about the government and the different styles of governments that you have available, because you can have an autocracy, confederacy, democracy, monarchy, oligarchy, plutocracy, republic, theocracy. There is just so much, information here. And if you are into your rules light, you might not be too interested in this, but it's important. They're talking about your population, food consumption, water. These are all resources that you need to have a functioning castle. And so it is very good in having. Acquiring land, again, this is talking more like about you could inherit it, invade it. There are so many ways you can get your land, but like I said, you've seen some of the artwork. It's really nice. Workforce. This is, here again, we're talking about how many people you can get, the quality of people that you can get in making your, your working party. And so there is a lot of things you have to consider. I forgot to go back. What's interesting, they got the racial effectiveness chart right here. And, they give the basics, absolute basics on how much work they can do. A human, common man, mixed man is 1. And then various races, they are higher and lower because, the dwarves, when it comes to stonework, are absolutely awesome. So they can do 1.3 times more work than your standard man. You can add different races to this, and, because giants, because of their size, their strength, they would be able to do larger work, stronger, lift more, move things faster. And so if you had a few giants on there, that would really help speed things up. And they're talking about your size of your workforce. And right there, how long it take you to get people to, it is a lot of details. Wages. Now in Bob the Builder's video, Bob World Builder, I have children, they watch Bob the Builder as kids, so that's stuck in my head. Sorry, Bob. But, they're giving you cost and all that. And, Bob was complaining, about how much the Abbey cost and all that, but not really what they did. And so here they got wage costs, but I think it's a heck of a lot better designed. Designing a castle. Oh, yes. This is the part that tells you what's in your basic units, because they just through the bridge, you got dams and your buildings. A lot of information there. Towers, your square towers, they got round towers, walls, and they got the little things you get to add, like your arrow slits, so that you can defend your castle and not put people in harm's way. Battlements, balconies. There is a lot of detail in this. And yes, it might be bogging you down trying to go through all this, but it makes the castle better. It makes the game better. They got the gates, latrines. You got to have a place to piss, don't you? And they talk about your mills. There is a lot of charts to use here. They have a section for traps. And that is so awesome because, it's not just trap and general. This is traps, okay, and they give you a whole bunch of different types of traps. They got arrow and dart traps, compacting room, falling traps, flooding rooms. They have locking doors and opening doors, pits, gas traps, so you can have a poison gas room if you wanted with their system. Poison needles, You can see it, Rolling Stones, so you can do the Indiana Jones theme if you wanted to. There are just so much you can add here. And it's nice that they go into such great detail. That's an interesting trap in that picture. Have a part where, a sword can swing out and take out somebody's leg. I'm thinking, oh, that's cool. I'm going to have a couple of those in the fortress that I will be building. And I'll get into that later on. And so, like I said, they're covering a lot of different information here. It's awesome. And they give defensive bonuses, so you can have something that you can be sieged at and plan out. And yes, it would be basically like a war game. And I know there's some of you that say it's all theater in the mind. Well, if you want some realism, sometimes you have to get out the hex paper, the hex boards, and build yourself a castle. There are many of you out there that use terrain. Well, you can take out your terrain, build your castle, and then use the charts in this book to give it the numerical values so that you can siege it and attack it and try to take it down. And here's some of the information on the castle that you were just shown in the previous pages about how long it will take for you to build that castle according to their charts. And it's quite nice because when you go look at it, I gotta get to the page in my book, so just one moment please. At the very bottom, they even added anticipated delays, so you can do it very realistically. And it will tell you that it's going to take 8,791,996 man days. Now, a man day is the amount of work a man can do in an 8-hour period. So, the more people you have, the more man days you can do in a single day. And so you can get more work done here. So if you had just one person trying to build this castle, it would take them 8,791,000 days, his lifetime. He will never get it complete to build this castle. And so if you have 1,000 men doing it, then all of a sudden it becomes 8,792 days to build that castle. So the more men you get, the better off you are. This part I love too, because they're talking about different things that you can do. You can add magical resistant materials to a game. I don't know, I forget what it looks like in D&D, but there's Cragora, which is basically uranium, and the radiation affects magic, and thus you can use some uranium in your walls to prevent magical attacks on your game. That's awesome. They even have megaliths chart. So you can add something like Stonehenge into the vicinity of your castle. Okay. So for those of you who are not Christian or Muslim, you're pagans, here is a way for you to put in a temple, a stone circle into your game. It's awesome. Now, you can also incorporate magical building, so that instead of having all those cranes to move all those large blocks, maybe you have a few mages that can levitate the blocks into the higher places. breaching and collapsing. Okay, remember, this is combat. Rolemaster does like its combat. And so we're talking about what it takes to get through the walls. And so, and then, of course, you got to fix your castle after combat. And here's, again, part of the detail that I love. Now, remember, this is something that you can remove from the game if you don't want it. But if you're building this castle into a campaign, this is important. Daily life. Because, they are covering, the people that you have in there, your servitors. You have to have people that can work in it, maintain it, defend it. And, you want your scribes, right? You're an epic person. You're building a castle. Well, you need a scribe to write that crap down, right? Now, of course, then you need your taxes, because, it's not free. You can make it free if you're a terrible GM, but if you want to follow some realm of reality, yes, you got to tax people. And so they got your standard of living right up there. I mean, like I said, with Rolemaster, they got a chart for everything. And if they don't, give them a week and they'll have it. Public opinion. This is about how you can resource people in building your castle. So that's important. And, how you can raise lower taxes, festivals, because you got to keep the morale up, to get people to work on your castle. Diplomacy and foreign relations. Okay, again, they're adding extra details, so because maybe you are on the border and you have to, be good with your neighbors while you're still building your fortress. Heraldry. Now, this is something important. I like this little added part here, because you can kind of design your own coat of arms using some historical concepts. And then we're talking about the castle record. Let me get to that page in my book. And there we are. So they have a castle record. This is your record of, your units. This first page here. This is about every section of wall or building, on how much strength they have, what their dimensions, strengths are. So that is important. Military. What type of leadership and units do you have? So, you could have, this can be a very paper excessive concept for people, because you are a castle, the larger the castle, the more people you need. And thus you have to keep records. Okay, there's about your land. Like they're saying, this part's optional, the labor breakdown. And there is the nice castle that they brought. They got this numbered off to let you know what everything was and what the costs were. It's pretty good. They did a good job making this module. And so right there you can see how their armor type is, their defensive bonus, how much hits it takes to breach, and then to completely destroy that section. It's pretty detailed. And right there, their military. So all that was required for that castle that they showed. And another nice thing about this game, like I said, if you want detail, if you want structure, this is awesome. Food collection. You know, you have to have food to feed everybody, especially if you are going to have sieges in your game. And there we go into Siegecraft. And there we go. And so you can, after reading this, you can plan to some degree, you know, your sieges. And so if you are somebody that does like to incorporate war games into their TTRPGs, there is some great information on incorporating a siege into the campaign. They give good descriptions to all the parts, like a palisade, you know, other defenses, and then even talk about attacking the castle. So there is just so much information that they have here for you. Siege engines, you know, siege towers, trebuchets, they got it all listed here for you. And so this is a very good book to have, because there is a lot of information. And right, you know, I mean, that part right there, you know, they're talking about your siege engines, and so you can figure out, you know, if you have a trebuchet, you can have the heavy one uses 300-pound rocks. Wow. It takes 25 people to operate it. There's a fumble range of 4, which means when you use your 2d10, if your end result is a 4, your trebuchet misfired. Maybe something broke. It's just some nice information there. Ammunition, okay. Okay, you got the weapons, but do you have the boulders to fire from it? So, you know, it's every little detail. Sapping attacks. Sappers are your engineers, and they can build tunnels or dig tunnels underneath castle walls and place explosives or basic, if you have those in your game. I don't. And so they have magic items that they could put in there to take down the wall. And so they, like I said, there's more, you know, inspirational art for you. You can have spies. And this part I love here. This one page is just talking about diseases. Now, disease is absolutely important to consider if you're doing a super realistic game. A castle can be wiped out by a disease. In history, they used to use a trebuchet or catapult and launch dead animals into a castle that they're sieging, hoping that the rotting beast will cause a disease and kill the people in the castle. That's why they put covers on wishing wells, well, your water well, so that they don't shoot a dead cow into your water well, and then you'd lose your use of water. Nice little history note there. And so I like that they added this there. Food stores, also important, because you have to have food for your for everybody inside the castle. A lot more information here, like designing ruins. Yes, they even have a section for designing ruins. And so sometimes what you need is a destroyed castle, a ruin, to do a campaign. Well, here we go. There is a section just for that, and they can have structural collapse in there. So, you know, you could run the risk of being killed by a collapsing wall because you went into a very rickety area. It adds to the game. And then you got, okay, like I said, right there they got a collapse chart for you. That's pretty awesome. Then, where you can add, more special items to the game. There is adventure ideas. That is nice. And they have, of course, a random events table. This, of course, is for a 2d10 or d100, in which you can find out, what's going on in and around your castle. They have some with different timestamps. So this one you would roll, since it's biannual, it's twice a year. And it's a big one because it goes on to another page. They got a lot of tables for you to look at. So, I talked about something in another part of the book, but the tables for it are right here. Events that, there you go. You got fire, which is dangerous in the castle. You got epidemic, which is your disease, war, their environmental shift. Yeah, what if you're having a drought and you need water? There's your ruin statuses. Like I said, there is a lot of information in this. And, I got to poke fun at Bob. I think he would have closed the book on the 50th page, because I think this might be a little bit too rule heavy and chart heavy for him. And we're going through every page, so you can stop it at any point and look at what the information they have here. Now this is for furniture decorations they have for the smaller things that you put in the castle. And so, what it takes to stock a general castle. Tools and machines, gosh, I love that part. Food products, okay, there you go. So you can use this chart in buying food for your freshly built castle. It's just, yeah. And now, whoops, I missed a page, sorry about that. Your siege equipment, how much it would cost for your siege engines. So there we go. That, I think, will make it a very realistic. Now we come to the long part, but it is the best part. Rolemaster they went through Iron Crown. They went through and they built the statistics for every item that you need for your castle. You can see the list here where they're talking about a one-story building, a one-story building with a loft, or a two-story building. Okay. Bob, in his video, complained about, you had to wait till, like I said, it was level 9 or level 13 to get the pub. Well, here, if you got the money, you could put up a building. You want a one-story building with a loft to be your pub? There you go. And the nice thing, because it's not linked to level, if you got the money, you can have 2 or 3 pubs. You can have as many stores, as many buildings as you can fit into your area. And so you can have a large marketplace for your castle. You might put this outside your castle if you wanted to, And so here we go. They tell you, what you can build it out of, your composition. So you can have a wood thatch, a brick, or a stone building. So if you want to build one out of wood, hey, that's fine. That's quick and easy. and then you can build a stone one. And and they have all these tables for you. Now, as you go through, size, they're giving you the square feet. So for a two-story building that is 18 feet tall, that is 500 square feet, 1,000 square feet, 1,500 square feet, 2,000 square feet, and 5,000 square feet. So you have the ability to, customize your buildings. So you might want to have your pub be the largest one there, largest building possible, because you're going to hold a lot of festivals in there. And so you might want to build the 5,000 square foot two-story building for your castle structure. And so then they tell you how thick the walls are. And, they use the American system here. So you can have one that is like 3 inches thick. Yay. But you can also build a two-story building with 1 foot thick walls. That's for the stone, which is at the bottom here. And so, yes, you can customize it. You can make one area into like your shanty town where you put your peasants and all that. If you're an evil person building a castle, you could put your slaves there if you are that despicable. And then in another area, you can build stone. You can do a lot of different things. And so now, like I said, they got a lot of charts. There's many, many charts. And you can see they're telling you, how big you want. They got 2-story, 3-story buildings. And so by having all this before you, you can then easily draw out your castle on a piece of hex board or whatever. Figure out how thick you want the walls, how tall you want everything, the dimensions. And then you can find it here on the chart, and you can figure out how much it's going to cost you and how long is it going to take to build. So on this page here, they talk about how much it takes to breach, that is to put a hole in the wall. But then to destroy the structure completely, it tells you how many hits you got to put in there. AL is talking about your architectural level, the complexity of the structure. And so in their game, you need to have an architect, an engineer that has this type of ability to plan such an item before you can build it. And now the next thing you see is time. This is the mandates that I was talking about earlier. How many days it would take a man to build this structure. And so again, this is where you want more men so that you can build a more impressive castle. You can also get it built quicker. There's just a lot of nice charting here. Okay, and like I said, right here, we're only at the 5-story limit. They have 6-story. I think they go all the way up. Yeah, 6-story is the highest they have in the game. And, because that was a very realistic limitation back in the day. And now we're talking about towers. And you can see we're starting off with square towers. Then we have round towers. The last item is cost, and those are in brass pieces. So that's why that number is so darn large for some of these items, because it's in brass pieces. And which is also nice because depending on what gaming system you are and your region, the price to convert a brass piece to a gold piece is going to fluctuate greatly. You know, it's general economics. And so you can find an area where, you know, you can convert your brass to gold very nicely into your favor, and so it would cost less gold pieces in one area compared to another. Yes, I know this is very time consuming on the walls. Okay, on structure. Here's walls. And so each wall that they have listed here is only 10 feet long. So yes, if you're going to build this massive wall, let's say you want to build a walled city, that's a lot of wall segments that you're going to have to buy. And you know, they tell you how high your walls you can build, because in this chart it goes up to 75 feet high. Okay, so that is, if I remember right, an 8-story wall. That is huge. That is high. It would be very hard to get the ladders required to climb that to get into your castle. Okay, so this is wonderful. And here, you know, you cannot build a 75-foot high wood wall, and so your options are brick and stone. Okay, I'm just love that idea. They have the stats here for you to build bridges. And so you can do build your moat and all that around your castle. And there we're getting into defensive areas because you got your balconies, but you got your arrow slits, battlements, buttresses, just everything, domed roofs. Just that this is a lot of charts for you to use in the game, and here's the last one. This is about adding traps into your traps, triggers, and secret passages. Secret passages. So the staff at Rolemaster, they added everything that you can put into your castle, and it's awesome. Spell list. Perimeter warnings, okay, defenses, you know, that's your security system. You know, they have a lot of spell lists here. Into, oh yeah, I like that artwork there, but stone crafting. So you can use magic so you can make high quality walls. Gargoyle Mastery. I thought that was always the weird one, but I love it. So you can add a lot of flair. Sacred grounds. Oh yes. Again, if you're wanting to build like a temple outside your castle, there you go. Attack tables. So you want to attack? Well, there's your attack table for a ballista. Catapult, a battling ram, and a trebuchet. And here's a nice glossary for terms for you. the castle that they built. And, you know, they're giving you the key for it. Some suggested readings and notes. And that is all of Castles and Ruins. Now this, I think, is an awesome book. I would highly suggest to buy it. And you can convert it into any gaming system, really, excluding D&D, because they couldn't handle it. Like I said, this is a rare book to find, so if you see the actual original book, I would highly suggest that you get it. I'm going to be doing a follow-up video in a couple of days. Because of the charts here, they're making it easy to build things, because you can just draw it out, then figure out how much this part of the wall is going to cost, this tower is going to cost that. It's awesome. On the chart, you can actually have the walls like up to 20 feet thick. So you can make these nice, thick, highly protective walls. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to build a castle. I'm going to get out some of my hex board, hex paper, and I am going to build a castle with many towers, a market area. It's going to have defenses. I'm going to list the defenses to figure out how much it cost and how long it would take to build it. Then for fun, because I am that evil, I am going to go to Game of Thrones. I'm going to get the dimensions of the wall, and I am going to see how long it would take to build the wall. Because they used ice blocks for the wall, from what I remember. And so you consider ice to be like stone, and thus we are going to use ice blocks to build the wall. And just the wall, not all the various castles, because they have like 16 castles, if I remember right. But I wanted just to see how much it costs to build the wall. With this, you can build anything. I've always thought about the Maginot Line. If you're into that, you can try to build the Maginot Line, of course in a historical, not in a historical sense, but the fantasy sense. For those of you who do not know what the Maginot Line was, after World War II, France built a massive static defense. This was a lot of concrete and cannon. And their idea was that if they built the Maginot Line, nobody would dare try to attack them. Unfortunately, it's a static defense. All you have to do is drive around it, and that's exactly what Germany did in World War II. That's why they invaded Belgium and all that, because then they can just drive around and get on the backside of it, where the defenses were basically non-existent. And they were able to easily run through France. You can use this to build a Hadrian's Wall. And for those of you who don't know that, get a history lesson. But the Hadrian's Wall is the wall that the Romans built during their when they occupied the British Isles. This was what the defensive work they built between Roman England and what is now modern day Scotland. That's pretty interesting. If you are wanting to punish yourself, you could also figure out how long it would take to build the Great Wall of China using these. You can build anything. And one of my countries for the world that I'm building, they're going to build their version of the Maginot Line in one of their defenses, because they're close to the Draconians and they need every defense they can get, because they are not going to last long. And so they are going to have this multiple mile long wall that's going to be 20 feet high and with a crap load of ballistas. And so I might even do some stats on that, do a video on that later on. This is an excellent book. I would buy it. I would suggest that you buy it. Okay. It is a very deep read. Like you saw, there's a lot of information, but you know, it's better to have too much information than not enough. Bob, if you watch this video, and I hope you do, you know, this is the opposite spectrum of the game that you did with all its limitations. We're not bound by level, we're bound by money and manpower, which I think is more realistic than your D&D system that you were referencing, or maybe it's a clone system, I don't know. But anyway, hope you enjoyed the video. Please put your comments down below, and everybody please take care and be at peace.